Welcome all to the Science, Technology and Society program Zoom webinar. I'm Marko Živković. I'm new to this role. I just got appointed the area coordinator. So bear with me while I'm learning the ropes. But what will happen is I will briefly introduce the program and myself. And then we have a panelist here. We have our undergraduate advisor, who will be Nicola, who will be able to answer all kinds of technical questions much better than I can. And then we have two of our instructors who can tell you more about the courses they teach. So I hope that you will get a sense of what kind of classes we offer, especially as core classes. Let me then start. I see that you are coming in. And we will be able to see your questions. And then what I will probably do as a host, I will read the questions aloud and then either answer myself if I'm the best person to answer, or I will just delegate that to one of our panelists. So let's get started. So as I said, I'm Marko Živković. I am a professor in the anthropology department, and I've taught classes in the SDS program before, and now I'm what is called the area coordinator. So briefly, the way to describe what SDS is, it's a program where we study science and technology as they're embedded in society with the tools provided by several disciplines, by history, by sociology and anthropology, by cultural studies, film studies as well, and philosophy. Our particular strengths are in history of science, sociology / anthropology of science, and philosophy of science. But as you will see, we are highly interdisciplinary. We can talk more about what that means. But this is a place where you will have engineers, scientists, and people from the Faculty of Arts rub shoulders and learn from each other. So briefly, we will learn about science and technology, the way they came to be, the way they developed, the way they interact with the society. We will also examine how scientists do what they do. And also there is a strange thing that sometimes what they do and what they say they do are not the same. Perhaps one of the most important things we study is how the public in general accepts science. And you're probably aware that at this moment in time with COVID pandemic, this issue has become really important. It really matters a lot whether the public at large accepts expert opinion and what scientists say or not. So these are the some of the things that we will study in the SDS program. Okay, so there will be more details about what courses are included and that sort of thing. But I would like to ask our panelists to introduce themselves briefly and basically tell us a little bit more about what they teach and what their particular interests are. So maybe Nicola first.
Hi everyone, I'm Nicola. I'm the undergraduate advisor for STS and also for the computer game development certificate. So I'm working out of home now, but typically I can be found in the old arts building. And I can help you with questions related if you are a major in STS or a minor in STS, and I can talk to you about your program requirements for your major and minor. I also will work with latter year students in setting up your capstone research project, which you would do in your 4th year as a STS major. And that is very exciting. And I can also help you troubleshoot problems having to do with registration or enrollment that may use the involvement of the undergraduate student services for the whole Faculty of Arts. So I can be your first go-to person. If I can't solve your problem, I can tell you who you need to speak to and what you need to do. So if you are an SDS major, or you're thinking of an SDS major and you need some more information, just email me directly. I'd be happy to help you.
Okay, thank you, Nicola. Can we have Lech introduce himself now, please?
So my name is Lech, and I teach SDS 200, which is one of those introductory courses in the program. In the past, I used to teach history of science and technology, and history of medicine. And my main interests are actually in transportation technologies and warfare technologies, but also anything in between. I have fairly broad interests and expertise.
Thank you. Richard, please.
Yeah, hi, I'm Dr. Richard Cover. We're having a little bit of an emergency here. Anyway, so I've taught previously SDS 200. I'm teaching this year STS 210, which is the Introduction to Environmental Studies and how it relates to technology and so forth. I'm also teaching a course which is an elective for science, technology, and society, which is Phil 366, which is computers and culture. And there we're looking at the ways that digital technology, computers, and so forth have not only been shaped by culture, but also shaped culture. So we're going to be looking at things like how it relates to the politics. We've had a lot of discussion about, Trump and the social media and so forth. And so we're going to be looking at that from perhaps a little bit more of a theoretical framework. We'll be looking at people like Walter Benjamin, also people like Marshall McLuhan, a sort of homegrown son of Edmonton, and looking at the ways in which we're not only shaping technology but also shaped by it. So that's some of the interests that I have, are particularly the philosophy of environmental philosophy, also philosophy of technology, and I also do a bit of psychology and technology as well. So that's me.
Thank you. All right, so I see that we have the first question, and Nicola will answer it.
Sure. Yes, I answered one question just on the chat. I typed one in, so you should be able to see that. But this question is, what are the differences between the STS major in the BA compared to the same major in the BS, which I'm thinking a Bachelor of Science? So the STS is only a major in the Faculty of Arts. So you can only be a Bachelor of Arts major student and declare a major in STS. And the requirements are different for the basics bachelor degrees in science and in arts. I'm not familiar with science because I'm not in that faculty. So one big difference if you are an STS major is you take more science courses than is required for just a Bachelor of Arts major. So this is part of our discipline, and we want to make sure STS students have a broad exposure to science. So that's one of the reasons for that. But there is no STS major if you're in the Faculty of Science. You have to be in arts.
Okay, I see another question, and the question is, could you elaborate on what SDS 410 involves? And maybe I can get started, Nicola can fill in. So this is what we call a capstone course. What it involves, at least in the format that we have now, is by the time you reach that point at the end of your major, you need to pick a professor you want to work with. Usually it's someone you already took classes with, you're familiar with, and you're interested in what they teach. It's good to have some kind of topic in mind, and then you arrange to have a basically one-on-one reading course or intensive study course with that professor. You need to find, first of all, if that professor is willing take you on. Then you have to come up with a topic, and together with the professor, you have to come up with a general description of the course. There is a one-page guideline for both you and your professor as to exactly what we need. So you will need to come up with a title, probably some kind of preliminary list of readings, and what your assignments are. The most important thing for you is that you're expected to produce probably the largest paper you have ever written, namely something on the order of 25 to 30 pages, research paper. And that is actually your capstone project. Then only your professor reads it and grades it. So maybe, Nicola, you can just say a few words, perhaps.
Yes, yeah, I will just say that it's a specific class, and I will be involved in registering you for that class, and it will appear on your transcript, and also the description of your topic will appear on your transcript as well, which is important. And I've seen students do some really interesting things. It's a great course because it can go, you can pick whatever you want. I've had a course, a student study minorities in STEM research. I've had a student study the supernatural and its relationship with science. So you can really explore your areas of interest, and I think that is really fun.
Yes, and come up with a nifty title, less than 30 characters long, and it will appear in your transcript. It could be quite nifty.
Now, who wants to talk about careers with an STS major?
I can get us started. And even though I don't have much experience yet with SDS, I have a particular kind of pitch for what SDS teaches you. And that has to do with interdisciplinarity. You will see already that you will take a lot of science courses, but you will take courses in the history, philosophy, or sociology, anthropology of science. This exposes you in a very interesting and integrated way to several disciplines. What we aim to teach you is how to be comfortable with figuring out different worlds, because disciplines are different cultures, and to be able to mediate between them. So I think this program really prepares you well wherever you have an interface, wherever you have two disciplines that need to communicate. That is to say, you become a good communicator. You understand science, so you can do anything that has to do with writing up science. You can be a science journalist, a science blogger. You can be someone who is helping out with any kind of policy that involves science and technology. Environment is a big part of what we do. So anything to do with environment advocacy, you will be well prepared to. There is also, if you wish, a kind of, I think there will be a dose of medical anthropology. And so you could probably also work in health-related fields. Museum studies, information technology. You will get a kind of science and technology and media sort of literacy that enables you to mediate and to kind of work with people from different perspectives who have, technical people and humanistic people. You are perfectly positioned to understand both and make them communicate well. So that's my general question, but maybe Nicola or somebody else can jump in.
From what I understand, it's actually well sought after, particularly in the civil service. So a lot of, particularly either in the civil service or in terms of think tanks, they're looking for this kind of interdisciplinary familiarity, so that you're not only familiar with the sciences, but you have a broad enough sort of background that you can sort of see how it relates to issues of cultural pertinence. So a lot of times you'll find that very, very highly regarded, let's say, in the civil service and such areas.
Thank you, Richard. Nicola, can you answer the next one? The internship program in SDS Major and more information about artworks experience.
I can't speak specifically to what opportunities exist. Arts work experience is a very it's a self-run unit of experts in career field. They work together with the Career Center, the Central Career Center, and they develop internships and co-op opportunities for students in different majors. So I actually do not know of what their opportunities are, because they have a very broad portfolio and they deal with a lot of students. So I don't help those students at all. They get turned over to Arts Work Experience, who gives this very professional interaction with the students and helps them through their internships. So I am very interested in our students coming back and telling us about their experiences. And I will be reaching out to some of our current students this year who have had these experiences and communicate those reports back out to our new students. But definitely any student coming onto a program at the U of A this year should meet with Arts Work Experience and see if there's some opportunity they can work into their course of study for the years that you're here. It's a great opportunity. It's a great benefit that a faculty has, that we have Arts Work Experience working for us. There's some incredibly professional and diverse opportunities there, and they'll find them for you and they'll make sure you get on them. So yeah.
Okay, I will get started on the next question, and then fortunately we actually have very experienced instructors here who can take it on. The question is, are the SDS courses this term synchronous, asynchronous, or a mix? So you probably know that faculty is actually still experimenting. Some of us had some experience already through the spring. And I can probably be safe in saying that it's going to be a mix. That's like the most approximate answer. But I want to turn this to Lech and Richard because they will actually be teaching the bulk of the courses that are coming up next year, namely SDS 200 and 210, which are our very core courses. So maybe they can tell you a little bit more about how they are organizing their courses.
So maybe I can go first. I already taught courses online. So what I have discovered was that what works best, because we have all those international students, what works best is to have these courses or the lectures pre-recorded and be posted not in PPTX format, which is PowerPoint, but rather MP4, because MP4 can be opened pretty much anywhere. And another thing I learned that when you have large classes, and I still teach large classes, so I have way over 140 students, 120, 140. I learned that no matter what you do, technology will fail every single time, especially during exams when they're live. So live Zooming, live exams are great. The only problem is because you're dealing with so many different audiences, with students with so many different computers, the hardware different, software different, internet speed. If you have large classes, it doesn't work very well. And that's why all my classes will be pre-recorded, so you can look at them anytime you want, and they'll be recorded in MP4 format. So you will not be required to have the latest PowerPoint or any of the the Microsoft Office software, which can get pretty expensive. So this is sort of what I learned from my experience this far, and that's why for SDS 200 I'm choosing to pre-record all the lectures and post them in MP4 format on eClass, where you can access them at pretty much any time. I would like to say something very quickly. The SDS 200 is going to be very different than anything I taught before. The online version allows me to bring into classes huge artifacts like you know, I don't know, interior of nuclear power plant, sort of, you know, behind all those switches, cars, aeroplanes, anything large that I could not bring to classes. So it's going to be fairly interesting, and I think it'll be a class that you will remember. Okay.
Oh, yeah, I've been, again, sort of new to coming to the digital online format. Again, like Lech, I prefer to use a sort of combination of asynchronous and synchronous formats. So most of my lectures are recorded, pre-recorded via PowerPoint, but I also like to emphasize a bit of interaction and discussion. I mean, part of the whole pedagogical process is not only being able to sort of listen to what's going on, but also being able to sort of formulate it, to sort of engage in discussions. And so what I tend to do, or what I'm looking at doing, particularly for the SDS 210, is pre-recording, let's say 2 hours of the lecture per week, and then the final Friday, we come together with a sort of set of questions to discuss. And this gives me a chance to sort of not only sort of factor in how you're sort of interacting and relating and understanding the information, but also a chance for you to sort of ask questions to me. And so in terms of the evaluative material, a lot of it will be based on sort of preparing sort of essays, but also presentations as well. And so this gives, you know, particularly in the humanities, what we're trying to emphasize is the ability to sort of synthesize knowledge, to sort of articulate different perspectives. And so particularly with the recent switch to the digital format, I'm looking at different ways of sort of providing, or not only providing the lectures, but also sort of evaluative material. Because as Lech mentioned, it's difficult, particularly with the move to the digital format, to sort of proctor exams and so forth. So for this next couple of semesters, what we're going to be looking at is particularly different ways of presenting and getting the students to engage.
Thank you, Richard.
I would like to ask the instructors to maybe speak to what are their favorite texts that they present in their classes. What are some of the literature that you discuss? Because I've seen some interesting course listings and textbooks for your classes.
Richard, you want to go first, maybe?
Okay. Well, I don't tend to use a textbook per se in my classes. I tend to rely on eClass, and so that allows me a chance to sort of bring together a lot of sort of material. You know, particularly with when I've taught in the past SDS 200, this is a real chance to sort of give a number of different sort of perspectives. So some of the texts that we've used are you know, Thomas Kuhn, of course, but we've also engaged in a thinker like Ellul, Jacques Ellul, but also a particular favorite of mine, a fellow called Albert Borgman. And Borgman has a very interesting take on sort of technology, and I always try and include in my lectures a sort of clip of him explaining why he has sort of difficulties with cell phones at the dinner table and other sort of pressing sort of issues, and to show how, you know, many of these issues that we're dealing with in SDS are not just sort of abstract, you know, sort of, but they really relate to sort of daily issues and how we relate and interact with one another. Another text that I often use is the Cyborg Manifesto, which is a bit of a an engaging and certainly very provocative work, but I always find that students come away with quite a different take on the relationship between gender and technology. In terms of STS 210, There again, I mean, these are meant to be sort of overview courses, and so I like to bring as many different papers from different perspectives. So you might be reading an article by Naomi Klein, or you might be reading an article by somebody like Julian Simons. We go everywhere from talking about green liberalism, or the economics of the environmental crisis, to deep ecology and some of the more radical perspectives on the environmental crisis. So I really, one of the things that I enjoy about the courses in SDS is that we're allowed to and encouraged to bring in a multitude of perspectives and to give you a sort of flavor of some of the issues and the diverse controversies that are involved in the field. Do you want to take it from there, Lek?
Sure. So for in the past, I was using various books, just like Richard, but this year is going to be interesting because there's one book which covers most of it, and that's the new book by Andrew Eade, which is Science, Technology, and Society. It's been published by Cambridge. And it's a really interesting work because it brings together all those various perspectives. Of course, we'll cover Jacques Ellul, we'll cover extensively Neil Postman, Kuhn, of course. But for one textbook that I'll be using, it will be the new one by Andrew Eade, which is Science, Technology, and Society. And I was really waiting for that book to come out because it saves me a lot of work. So, and it's not terribly expensive. It's a little bit difficult to obtain. There's just not enough copies. However, I found the online version, which you can purchase for about $30. And there's another textbook that I'm considering along with this one, which is by Leslie Cormack and Andrew Eade. And that book is essentially all about science, society, and society. The problem with the other book is, it's almost impossible to get enough copies of it. It's so popular, and I couldn't find really decent online version. So we'll see how it goes. At the moment, we'll definitely have the one by Andrew Eade, and a mixture of Postman, Jacques Ellul, Kuhn, and various other famous people who commented on technology and science and its relationship to society, with Postman being sort of my, I'll be using Postman the most towards the end of the course because eventually, as a society, we made this enormous shift, and that's what really happens right now in 2020s. We have evolved from being users of science and technology as tools to solve various problems to become the tools of our tools in 2020s. So, and to show you how that sort of switch was made, I'll be using extensively Postman, a new Postman towards the end of the course. So that's where I'm at the moment.
Okay, thank you, Lek. I don't know, I'm kind of new to this technology, but I just tried to post the link to a little video that Lek made, and I see it in the answered questions, but I wonder if everybody sees it. It was appended to the last question that Nicola is going to answer about computer game development certificate, because I couldn't find any other way of doing it. And it contains the link to that video. I hope that works. But anyway, maybe over to Nicola to answer the computer game development certificate question.
Sure. The computer game development certificate is a very popular certificate, and it's what we call an embedded certificate. So it's a program you can do alongside your regular program, and if you're a science student or an arts student. It's a joint certificate between computing science in the Faculty of Science and Media and Technology Studies, STS here in Faculty of Arts. It is, you're required to take 18 credits, so that's 6 courses. There are 3 mandatory courses. One of them is STS 350 or STS 351, one or the other. 351 is the online version. So you can take it, and we generally offer that in spring and summer. You can take it online, and it is understanding video games. And the culmination of the certificate, you will take a class called Interd 450, which is an advanced video game design class. And you will, as a team of your fellow students, you will actually develop and build a video game. Very popular course, very popular certificate. If you want to take it, all you have to do is go ahead and take the requirements of the certificate. They're listed online. And you also have to declare it by filling out a Google form at the Faculty of Arts website, and it'll appear on your Bear Tracks as one of your programs. And as long as you fulfill the requirements sometime during your program, you will earn a certificate along with your on your parchment when you graduate.
Thank you, Nicola. I don't see any new questions coming up. Maybe I can just mention one of the books that really impressed me recently. That is a kind of book that I would love to teach. And it's called One Good Turn. And it's a little history of the screw and screwdriver. Actually, the previous director of the program recommended it to me. And it's written by a very skillful writer who is an architect. It's short, but I think what it does really well, first it's fascinating. It's a journey of finding when the first screw was invented. It takes you on a journey. You learn a whole lot about history. You learn about ancient Romans. You learn about Europeans. You learn about how the tunnels were bored in London and so on. The point I want to make is that there are nifty short books like that, that even though they teach you, their focus is on science and technology, you learn a whole lot about history and about other things. And the point is that this is also a liberal arts education that you're getting. Our focus is on science, technology, and environment, but you will really learn a lot about not only European, but world history. One day I'll probably teach a book that actually shows you how technology started out in China and India before it came to Europe. So I think it's also providing you with a very general education through specifics of science and technology.
And that is a good way to introduce the idea of interdisciplinary and interdisciplinarity, which is what is science, technology, and society. As Marco mentioned, it's not all about science. You have to look through lenses of historical perspective and psychology and sociology. And so all of these lenses are part of the focus of this major. That's why it's very important.
Thank you. Interdisciplinarity is one of my favorite topics. So if you hear me talking more about it, you know where that comes from. And I like this metaphor of lenses. One thing that you will be exposed to is this almost vertigo-inducing experience of seeing the one and the same thing from different perspectives or through different lenses. I think that this provides a very generalizable skill. I often talk about it as developing brain muscles or acrobatic ability to jump in and out of different worlds. Anthropology does that through study of different cultures. But as you will see, sciences, disciplines are different cultures. They live in their little different worlds. They have their rituals, they have their meetings, they have their journals, and they think in a particular way. And there is a reason why they do. You need to specialize in order to make good, significant discoveries. But it also gives you blinkers. Now, this program really systematically introduces you to different perspectives on one and the same thing. And so you will really get a training in interdisciplinarity. You will hear interdisciplinarity is a buzzword. It's a very popular one. And there are reasons why we need to have it, but in practice it's actually difficult. So I hope that what you will get through the course is a training in interdisciplinarity, in actually negotiating these borders between different disciplines.
We're getting close to we're at the 3-minute mark that our webinar is nearly over. I just wanted to quickly say that some of you that have attended today, and thank you for attending, and some of you are maybe SDS majors or you're maybe undeclared, and that's fine. I just want to say in a general way, even if you're not an SDS major, SDS 200 has no prerequisites, so go ahead and take it. If you're looking for an option that if anything you heard today sort of sparked your interest, take it as an option, and you never know where it's going to lead. It's nothing. Everybody needs a bit of a knowledge about science and technology in today's world, and you know, you're welcome. And if you have any follow-up questions, by all means. And in general, welcome to the university and welcome to your degree. And if something is not working for you in the path of your program, change it. There's plenty of options, and the Faculty of Arts has so much to offer. See your advisor, make friends with them. They're your best friend. And if something's not working, change it. And if something interests you, follow it, and you can't go wrong.
And if you would like to know more about SDS 200 program, please click on that link that Marco posted, because it will really tell you what it's going to be all about. And if it doesn't open for you, you can always email me and I'll send you the link. And my email address is lech@ualberta.ca. That's LECH at ualberta.ca. Okay. And I think that short video will really show you what the SDS program in general is all about, because it's very interdisciplinary. It's very amazing. And we have really, really great topics and some amazing professors teaching those courses. So I hope to see you in my SDS 200 or in another class. Thank you.
Thank you, Lech. As you can see, Lech has lots of switches and buttons, and some of them come from Russian technology, and they're designed to withstand a nuclear attack. So when he says that there are always glitches, remember, he knows how to operate these things. Also, with Richard, I would say that, among other things, you may learn something about hunting and hunters. And in the future, when I start teaching, you may learn something about archery, for instance, the development of archery and where that takes you, because I'm, among other things, a practitioner of both traditional and Olympic archery. So thank you all. Last minute questions. We have 2 more minutes. So yes, welcome, try us out. Try SDS 200, that's a very good introduction. I think that it's going to be very interesting if you take it. And yes, please join us.
Thanks again for everyone for attending.
Thank you very much.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Have a great day, everyone.